Men experience sexual shame also. And sexual shame is not something that is exclusive to women. We have that belief or idea in our culture sometimes that men don't experience sexual shame and all men want is sex. But there's more to that. And in this video, we are going to unpack some of the reasons that are not so subtle as to why men experience sexual shame and how that actually plays out in relationships or sexual interaction, particularly around pulling back. Why does this maybe happen? Well, the first thing that we need to look at is unresolved, unhealed wounding, which translates to low self-worth and insecurity. Now, that can go one of two ways for men. It can either go into a place where they become hyper masculine in their presentation, autocratic, oppressive, controlling, subjugating, judgmental. That they're not quote unquote healthy masculine traits. They are extreme expressions when we feel unsafe within ourselves. And all humans exhibit these when they feel unsafe, but not always. It's a decision, a choice. It's a coping strategy that somewhere in one's own psyche and in one's own body and throughout their own personal experiences, they've chosen to be that person. Now, the other is a retraction from the world. It's a hiding, it's a meekness, it's not believing in oneself. It's having and holding very low self-worth and self-value. And I want to speak to that a little more today. So let me explain. So sometimes we meet someone. And when a man meets a woman, when a man meets someone that they are interested in, they are experiencing, both people are experiencing that limerence phase of relating, that honeymoon period, right? They're on this hormonal rush and hormonal high. They're riding the wave of hormones. And that sometimes takes them to an elevated place of confidence that they normally wouldn't have. This cocktail of neurochemicals and hormones that are rushing through their body that are attracting them to this person. Now, normally they wouldn't have the confidence to connect to that individual. So I was speaking to a client and she was sharing with me this experience that she had with this man, and she was trying to understand what the hell happened. So I want to break down some of this for you. So they met, they started connecting. They both expressed that they wanted to take it slow, emotionally and sexually. Not so much slow, but just allow it to unravel organically. And so far so good. That was going quite well. After a period of time, a number of weeks together, they engaged in sexual intimacy. Now, the moment that happened, he just pulled back, shut down. He stopped pursuing. He stopped touching, because he was very, very active in his physical touch prior to that. He stopped being present to her. However, he would still communicate with her and say, hey, when are we seeing each other next? When are we doing this? And she felt completely distressed. Now, that was pushing a lot on her wounding of rejection and abandonment and sexual trauma that she's experienced as well as a young person. She thought, did I do something wrong? So women will often think this. Did I do something wrong? Did he not like the sex? Was it my body? What was it? And we take it personally as people, right? And he pulled right back. And so I started noticing this pattern, and I have a little more information about him, but not that much. But what I then came to understand is that in two previous relationships, he had been cheated on, and they were very intense relationships for him. And so he just kept reiterating, I want to take it slow, I want to take it slow. Now, my client had amazing healing and revelation through all of this, but that's not the purpose of this particular video today. The purpose of this video is to really go into why men would retract. And so when a man carries deep insecurities, when he has unhealed trauma or wounds, whether it be with the father figure or the mother figure, whether it be this sense of he doesn't feel connected to himself, he doesn't understand who he is, he doesn't know who he is. If he hasn't healed from past relationships and he's taken that on to mean it's his fault, he carries shame around that, the hormonal high will take him to a particular place where he can be vulnerable and expose himself. But the moment that high, that hormonal high wears off, comes down, maybe through a peak experience. It could be orgasm, it may not be orgasm, but a peak experience, a climax of some sort, or a perceived climax, the veil is removed, the curtains are spread apart, and there's this raw vulnerability that's left without the masking of the hormonal high. And in that moment, that man feels intense shame and even paralysis to be seen again, to be witnessed again, to be in his vulnerability, to be in his sexuality, in his prowess, in his expression. Because that dopamine is anticipatory. So all the while they're anticipating, and then climax, perceived climax, orgasm, it doesn't matter what it is. And then there's this retraction. The retraction occurs because that man hasn't healed his past wounds. He's still insecure about who he is. He doesn't believe in himself. He carries shame. So then what happens? He will project that shame in the relationship. He will literally be paralyzed to be emotional, to be connected, to be in that relationship, to be fully there. Now, he ended up speaking to my client a week later about this particular subject matter. And the result of that was, I'm not ready to be in a relationship. Now, he last broke up a few months ago with the last partner that he was with. Did he purposely go onto a dating site or open his heart up to be ready and say, oh, I'm not ready for a relationship, but I'm just going to start dating again to fulfill my needs? Not at all. He would have had an internal conversation to some effect. Okay, I'm healed. I did the right thing in the last relationship. I know who I am. We want to believe we're healed. We want to believe that we are connected. We want to believe that we're healthy in our constitution, psychological, emotional, spiritual, physical, relational. Sometimes we're not, and that's okay. We're not all broken by any means. In fact, our natural state is wholeness. We are connected. We are sovereign. We've lost that understanding and that gnosis, that wisdom around who we really are. And so he didn't go in this wanting to hurt anyone. He went in there maybe with an inflated sense of self. But that tends to happen when we don't do the work. And we feel that shame. Now, other reasons why this may happen. Other reasons why a man may pursue and then experience sexuality with a woman and then shut down and just disappear, even ghost you. Part of that can be because they're addicted to the hormonal high, they're addicted to the limerence phase, they're addicted to the pursuit, they're addicted to the short-term gratification and the anticipation of dopamine, and then the climax happens, the connection happens, and boom, it's severed, it's gone. For them, maybe people are too scared to get close. You know, we have sex once, twice, 3 times, 100 times. When we start exposing ourselves more and more, and people start to witness us in our familiarity, they start to see us for who we truly are, in our habits and the nuances of how we behave and move, that can be very daunting, especially if we have unresolved issues around rejection or abandonment, because there's more of a true self that's being shown in the world, and that can be daunting and confronting. And so we pull back because we haven't dealt with who we truly are. For whatever reason, whatever traumas or experiences that we've had, or just beliefs that we've formed over the years about who we are. And if we don't have faith in that person, we will pull back because we are scared for others to see us. And the more time we spend with someone, the more energy we interchange with someone, the more they see who we truly are. And that can be painful for us because there's a disconnect between who we really are and who we want to be. And if they don't match, we feel we don't match. And we often feel less than. Some men are stuck in their egos, some are stuck in narcissistic tendencies, some are just addicted to novelty. Novelty is a very addictive thing. But this shame, this hidden, unspoken shame that men experience, that's what I wanted to touch on today. Now, that doesn't excuse anyone's behavior. It gives you an opportunity to empathize and be compassionate and connect to the situation, but also learn and grow from it yourself and learn to set healthy boundaries in a compassionate way, because that will help you grow. That will help you expand and elevate your sense of self. And then you get to look at, okay, why am I attracting this if this is a pattern? Why am I creating this in my reality if this is a pattern? What does it mean for me? What do I get to look at? And can I do that from a place of love? Power and blessings. I'll see you soon.